What's up, guys? This is the Real Quaid with actually another battle video. This is the first one I've had. I think this is the first challenge I've had in about a month. And I know the last few I didn't record just because they were sort of lopsided and uninteresting. But since it's been so long, I wanted to make sure I got this one. So I am getting over a cold, so if I sound funny or if I start coughing, that's what that's all about. So excuse me in advance for any of that. But this is against 21 Questions. If you take a look at his team, he's got a lot of psychic power. 3 of his Pokemon are psychic, which is going to ruin my team pretty good, so I need to sort of be careful when and where I use my psychic vulnerabilities. I'm assuming Zoroark's going to be a key player in this one. But I decide to lead with Zoroark again, just because it's been doing well for me. If I get a bad matchup, I can always switch out. I decided to bluff him as Crobat because I kind of expected to need to use the U-turn on this opening turn, and Crobat is the one Pokemon I have that is the best at bluffing U-turn. So sure enough, he comes with Zapdos. I don't think I can one-shot him, so I'm not going to bother. I hit him with a little U-turn, expecting maybe a Thunderbolt or something, which is great because I will switch into Nidoking, and he will take the... he actually goes for a Volt Switch. He will take the Volt Switch, and he's immune to it, so actually Zapdos is now stuck. So I'm in a good position right now. He actually comes at me with an Air Cutter, which won't finish off Nidoking, fortunately. So I'm going to come at him with an Ice Beam, and down he goes. So Nidoking pulling his weight very well right now. Felt pretty good. It's been a while since Nidoking did some real work. So he goes for his Alakazam. I'm kind of worried about what he's got. He immediately withdraws him. I think he's trying to see what my normal tactics are, just to kind of feel me out. So he goes for the Metagross, which ended up working great. I expected a Psychic attack, so I actually switched to Zoroark. Of course, this guy still has Crobat, which ends up being really good. This is a nice, favorable matchup. I come right in with Flamethrower. And we know how this ends. Metagross' specialty is not so great. My Zoroark is Choice Spect, so he's going to fall in one shot. So off to a really great start. 3 turns I've knocked out 2 of his Pokemon, taken very little damage. So he comes at me with Gengar. I'm expecting a Focus Blast or something, so I'm going to send out Toxicroak to take it. He's going to be resistant to it, so it's going to be... he's going to take some damage because Gengar's special attack's pretty high, but he'll survive this, and he'll be able to come at him with a Sucker Punch and hit him pretty hard in the next turn. So, just a little leftovers recovery, and now I come in and there's the Sucker Punch. Of course, Gengar with the low defense is the low HP. He's getting hit real hard. Manages to hold on with the Focus Sash. Sorry. He hits me with the Shadow Ball, which is a great move. I was hoping he didn't have the Focus Sash, but he does, manages to survive it because of it, and in return knocks out my Toxicroak. But he's down to 1 HP, which is not a terrible state to be in. I go for my Scolipede, because I know he's faster than Gengar. Gengar actually is packing Sucker Punch, which is an interesting move on Gengar, because his attack isn't... it's not bad, but it's not great. So unfortunately he manages to break my Focus Sash, but he does go down in the process. So he sends out Salamence. I notice he has Intimidate, so I don't think it's a Dragon Dance setup Mence. I would have normally stayed in with Scolipede, except he cut my attack and I didn't want to hit him. I probably wouldn't have finished him with a Rock Slide, so I switched to Muck. Muck takes huge damage from Aerial Ace, a lot more than I expected. At this point, I was pretty sure he had a Choice Band just because he did so much damage. But I'm going to come at him with Muck. He switches his Salamence to a Slowking. I'm coming at him with, of course, Poison Jab, which is Muck's strongest attack. I managed to get lucky and poison him outright on the first hit, so that worked pretty well in my favor. Now, I know Slowking's attack is pretty good, and I know he's going to come at me with a Psychic attack. But I'm feeling kind of cocky at this point. I go for the Stockpile just to raise that defense. I know I'm going to go first, so I was hoping it would do that. Muck would just use his natural special bulk and just take this pretty well, even though it is super effective. So it hits him pretty good. And at this point, I'm thinking I might be able to get another one in. If I get another one in, I'll be in pretty good shape. If I don't, he's probably going to knock me out anyway. So I go for a second stockpile, thinking that I'll be able to survive another Psychic. And the plan was that I would stockpile, survive the Psychic, and then I would probably end up swallowing, or I might end up with the poison jab just to finish him off, but it didn't come to that. I made a little miscalculation, and Muck does fall to the Psychic. But Slowking's hurting pretty good. He's poisoned, and he's slower than my entire team, so I'm not worried about him at all. I go for Zoroark to clean him up with the U-turn and get a favorable switch in, because I don't want my Zoroark to be vulnerable, if at all possible. I know Zoroark's going to be a key to victory. So, he ends up finishing off Slowking, hitting his lower physical defense, and then I switch out to Scolipede, because he is, I was baiting, Salamence to come out so that I could switch in and sacrifice Nidoking, but he actually sends out his Alakazam. I don't want to mess with him, I'm thinking he's going to knock me out, so I switch to Zoroark here. Predicts beautifully, goes for the Focus Blast, but he missed, which is critical. In this match, it didn't necessarily matter in the long run, and you'll see why once we get moving here. But and then he goes for another Focus Blast and misses Crobat, which is really unfortunate. Now, Crobat is double resistant to it, so he wouldn't have taken damage, that much damage. He would have recovered it pretty easily. But it's just unfortunate that he misses 2 Focus Blasts in a row. So he switches to Salamence. I go for the Super Fang, knock off half his HP. Now, I kind of had forgotten the Salamance's first appearance and how much damage he did to Muck. I go for the Taunt, mostly because I don't want him to set up. Because once he gets a Dragon Dance, he can pretty much sweep my entire team, no question. So I figured Taunt was a safer play. He comes at me with the Dragon Claw. It does ridiculous damage to Crobat. I did not expect it to do that much. But I know that Crobat is going to be important probably just because his speed is so high. And I wouldn't finish him with a Brave Bird because he has already intimidated me. So I basically switched to Nidoking for the sole purpose of sacrificing him here. Nidoking's done his job. He's slower than both Alakazam and Salamence, and both of them can one-shot him, so Nidoking doesn't really have any other purpose at this point. I switched to Scolipede because he's fast and he can finish off Salamence. Goes for the Rock Slide. Salamence at half HP. Super effective on Scolipede's attack is pretty decent, so he actually manages to finish him off. So his last Pokemon left is Alakazam. At this point, there's no reason for me to switch out. I'm going to come right at him with Mega Horn. Actually, the max speed Scolipede manages to outspeed his Alakazam. He's probably modest, so I get a little bonus there. So it ended up working out alright. Thankfully, Zoroark didn't come back in the battle because Zoroark really should have been knocked out at this point. I make no claims against that, but good game to 21 Questions. It's been a nice return to battling because it's been so long, but hopefully we'll have some more battle videos coming up soon, and I'll see you guys next time.